Hey guys, it's Matthew here, and I am back again with another video. My bird is running around my feet, and he has been quite nippy, so if I look down, I'm trying to protect my toes from being eaten. But anyways, I just wanted to make this video because, yesterday, a little bit of an off day. We all get those off days when we're a little bit more sensitive and, take things a little bit more to heart. And I kind of just wanted to talk about that, especially with, having mental illness, having depression. So basically, what I wanted to talk about was dealing with guilt in depression. Because, oh boy, my mind just goes straight to the worst whenever I either do something wrong, or do something I perceive as wrong, or do something someone else perceives as wrong. So basically, anytime I do something wrong, I just think the absolute worst of myself. Especially when I was younger, all my thoughts used to go immediately to, oh shit, I've done something wrong. I don't deserve to live. I don't deserve anything nice. Why am I even alive right now? And last night, it was kind of a reliving of that in a way, but not as extreme. So when I was younger, anything from the smallest thing that shouldn't even matter, accidentally bumping into someone, to actually doing wrong and hurting someone's feelings, I'd always be like, well, I don't deserve to live, I should just die. And led to a lot of self-harm and negative coping skills with that. Last night, I did something. It wasn't horrible. It was just an in-game kind of thing. Took my friend's weapons. He seemed upset, but I couldn't tell, if it was actual upset or if it was just, fooling around kind of thing. So I just felt horrible. I remember the first thought that came to my mind was just well, I want to die now. Just because I was fuck. I have known this person for less than a month, and I've already screwed up this relationship. It just went downhill. Like the saying, making a mountain out of a molehill. In reality, looking back at it, it's not that big of a fucking deal. In the moment, I was like, holy shit, I ruined my relationship with this person forever. I'm the worst person ever. This was all captured on stream. I should just shut up. No one should listen to me. And all that jazz. And really, I think part of it just has to do with upbringing as well. Because the way I was raised, it was you need to do everything for everybody else. You need to be perfect. If you do anything wrong, it's a sin, it's horrible, God's gonna hate you. I think in a way that's stuck with me throughout my life. Personally, I don't believe in God, or at least the same God, or any really, anymore. But the same feelings of just, oh, you're just a horrible person for doing one little thing, that is stuck with me. Especially just with depression, I'll go for everything I've done wrong in my life and be holy shit, I shouldn't be alive. Look at all this bad stuff I've done. The world would be better without me. And in reality, those voices that we hear telling us that we shouldn't be alive, that any mistakes we make just automatically makes us a bad person, those voices are not true. Of course, everyone is going to make mistakes. No one is going to be perfect. And I know that is said a lot, but it's so true. Instead of looking to be this kind of person that's perfect, always doing right, never doing wrong, I think we have to start just teaching people, you're going to make mistakes. And here's how to deal with them, here's how to get through them, here's how to apologize, and work through that instead of being taught, self-deprecation, being taught that, oh, now that you've done something wrong, you're automatically a bad person. Like, we're just taught to see, like, black and white. You're either a good person or you're a bad person. You either did something right, you either did something wrong. And in reality, there is so much gray area. There is so much that makes us who we are, besides one action or two actions, or even just a small chunk of your life. I think that's something we always have to remember. And just having something like depression, having anxiety, it makes it even harder to realize that, because we're already just stuck in our own heads being like, oh shit, I'm a bad person, or always worrying, oh, what does he think of me, what does she think of me, how do others see me, am I good enough? Like, just having all of these thoughts that throw us into a hole. It makes everything that in reality is small, it makes it seem like it's the worst thing that's happened in our life. And I think just being able to work through that, would be like good skills to have. So now I just kind of want to go into like the part of what I do in like these kind of situations when something goes wrong. Maybe I didn't do the best I could do. Maybe I wasn't the best person I should have been. And how to cope with that instead of going directly into, I'm the worst person, I deserve to die. Like things like self-harm, self-medicating, stretch, alcoholism. Like instead of doing that, just what I've learned to do in my life. One of the things I've learned is to conditionally to tell myself, it's not the end of the world. You are not the worst person in the world, and this is just going to be a small part of your life. What I mean by that is, as all these thoughts are running through your head of, oh, I should die, I'm the worst person, I'm just horrible, like, to constantly remind yourself that you're not a horrible person. You just did one bad thing in that moment. I think that's important to remember. In that moment. It's not, you've been bad your whole life. It's just right now, this one thing. It does not define you. The sum of your person is not this one thing you have done. And I think that's just really helped me to put into perspective, just everything in life that's just gone on, instead of just focusing on this one moment, this one thing that is going on that's just taking over most of my brain. Then another thing I've just learned to do is when you feel you are truly sorry and you can apologize without putting yourself down, to do so. Because anytime you do something wrong, you should apologize. And if you apologize, do it sincerely. And then after you apologize, learn to forgive yourself. So, here's the example with the small thing that happened last night. I just sent a DM saying, I'm sorry for what just happened. And I was truly sorry. I wasn't just saying it. How it is in school sometimes. It's apologize to blah blah blah, and you're like, I'm sorry. You don't really mean it. Apologize when you mean it. And if they take that well, and if they accept your apology, that is fine. If they don't accept your apology, that is still fine. As long as you're sorry, as long as you did what you could to make up for it, that's what you have to do. And then you have to forgive yourself, which is one of the hardest things, and I'm still working on that from last night, even though that was a small freaking thing, even though that's a small thing, or a big thing, is to be okay, that moment is over. I've apologized, now I have to get over it. Because if you keep fixating on this one thing, you're gonna be miserable. I was fixating on it the whole night, even throughout playing, games afterwards, and I was feeling miserable. I was trying to mask it, but inside I was just I'm still horrible. There's no way to forgive myself. No. Work on forgiving yourself. As hard as that can be, in my mind, the ability to apologize sincerely and to acknowledge you've done wrong and to, in the future, be conscious of what you're doing so that you don't repeat it, that says more about your character than what you have done. The person you are in that moment, in the moments afterwards, like how you deal with the situation, defines your character more than that one mistake that you have made. And you need to realize that. No matter what your brain's telling you, what your depression, what your anxiety is telling you, you need to tell yourself otherwise. You need to tell yourself, not necessarily being like, oh, I'm a good person for apologizing, but being like, you know what, in the end, I did the right thing. I apologize, I made up for it, and now I'm going to move on. Another thing I've learned to just cope with it, feeling guilt, feeling so down after it, is to take a break from the situation. Don't do anything rash. Like, that's especially what I used to do when I was younger. I would just be like, I am the worst, and then some form of self-harm. Because I was like, I need to pay for this. If you are thinking that, stop. That, in the long run, is not going to help at all. It may make you feel a little bit better in the moment, but speaking from personal experience, having things stick with you like that are permanent like scars, doing something rash, and then that makes a bigger impact than what you've done wrong in a negative, that isn't worth it. So you just have to take a minute, think about it, be like, is what I'm gonna do actually going to help with this problem, or am I just looking for a way to cope? And you know, there are some ways to cope that aren't inherently bad. Like, one thing you could do is just, you know, sleep it off. Just sleep it off. Think about it after you wake up, after you had your, like, time to cool down. You know, that's perfectly fine. If you keep, you know, just sleeping your days away, just completely avoiding it, that's when it could be a problem. But if you're like, okay, I need a break from this, I need to walk away, I need to sleep it off, I need to get away, that is perfectly fine. Do that. Take the time to process it. Like, you don't have to do a million things at once in the moment. Take your time. Slow down. Your brain is racing. You need to come back down a little bit so you can think a bit clearer about what you're gonna do. And so, you know, you just don't hurt future you. Those are a few ways I've learned to personally cope with guilt. Now, do I always follow them? No, but do I try my best? Heck yeah. Especially with the self-harm stuff. Just finding other ways to cope instead of self-harm really helps. So I'm hoping you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully I gave you guys some tips on how to deal with, you know, your own guilt in situations that you could possibly put it to work. You know, I'll see you guys next time with another video. Probably on mental health again, because it is May. I do have quite a few things I want to talk about, and I will see you later. Goodbye.